What's up, guys? My name is Joseph, and today I'm going to be doing some of you guys a favor. In this video here today, I am going to be doing a brief summary, opinion pieces, just general knowledge on all of the Oscar Best Picture nominees. This video is specifically dedicated to people who, want to be cultured, want to seem smart, want to seem like they know what's going on, want to have opinions, and, maybe you've got some friends that are really into movies. Maybe they even make movies. But, actually sitting down and watching these 2, sometimes 3.5 hour movies just so that you can watch some award show at the end of the year, it's a lot. But don't you worry. In just about 10 minutes, I'll make sure that you seem cool, confident, and cultured in front of all of your film-enjoying friends. Without further ado, let's just jump right into the list. Starting off with A Complete Unknown. To put it simply, A Complete Unknown is the Bob Dylan biopic starring Timothy Chalamet. I suppose in a way, there just needs to be a biopic for every Best Picture Oscar race. I don't know. I find it very bizarre that this very formulaic, very stereotypical template of a genre of a movie continues to not only do this well, but get this much acclaim. I don't know. I mean, this movie's not bad. This movie reminds me of that one Onion skit where there's that mildly attractive guy who works in the office and most of his coworkers suggest that they have some level of interest in him, but it's really just the fact that no one else in the office is even mildly attractive, so something that's even vaguely decent seems like a masterpiece. I would say that's this movie. It's fine. It's good. It's a C-tier friend. Someone you can have around. You're not going to mind if they're there. Other people probably really like them, but it's also a biopic. So this is just like a mid-date, Some guy who the best thing you can say about him is that, oh, well, he was nice. I think you get the gist. Now, the only, important races to know about in terms of this movie is Timothy Chalamet could potentially win Best Actor. I know I would personally really like to see it go to either Brody or Domingo. But again, for some reason, these biopics, especially when it's a celebrity that everyone really likes doing an impersonation of another celebrity that everyone really likes, for some reason, those tend to do very well. Moving on to the next movie, we have Emilia Perez. Emilia Perez has been an interesting movie. It's been wrapped up in a lot of controversy lately. But basically, what this movie is about is from penis to vagina. Emilia Perez is like pouring water on an oil fire. Emilia Perez raises the question, should we still be Islamophobic in 2025? No. Wicked is the next movie on this list, and it is a film adaptation of a play that takes place before that first movie. Wicked is this year's populist pick. Think of it like Barbie or Avatar: The Way of Water or Top Gun: Maverick from previous years. These are movies where their main sell to getting into Best Picture is that they did very well, that they were huge movies that everybody heard about. And there's nothing wrong with a movie like that making it into Best Picture. There's absolutely a place for large blockbusters, especially in the case of Wicked when they're done very well. Honestly, if someone has a problem with this movie being on the list, feel free to just disregard. Having this movie in Best Picture is no different than having pizza in your top 10 foods. It might be a basic, supposedly simple pick, but you also can't go wrong, and it's deeply satisfying. For Wicked, the important debates come down to Ariana Grande for supporting actress, which, by the way, she would be my pick. Arrivo for leading actress, but I don't know that she'll get that. And then just a lot of text, like the songs, the score, the production design, etc., etc. Next up, we have Sing Sing. This was a fantastic... Oh. What? They didn't put Sing Sing in Best Picture? How? That's easily one of the best movies of the whole year and one of the most important. What the? Oh, okay, well, moving on next, we have Challengers. They didn't do Challengers either. Moving next, we have Nickel Boys. Nickel Boys is an adaptation of a book that came out a few years ago that is about the experiences of 2 African-American students in a segregated boarding school during the Jim Crow era. Honestly, for this one, the only thing you really need to know is that it is marvelous that this movie got into Best Picture. This is one of those, not art house, but just different, non-mainstream kind of movies that you get really excited to see get rewarded in this way. This is a deeply technical, deeply important cinephiles pick of a movie to make a Best Picture. The biggest thing with this movie, if you want to seem like you know what you're talking about, is the style of cinematography. This movie went almost entirely in first person, which is something that virtually no movie has ever done, and no movie that was this serious has ever tried to do. Try talking to your cinematographer friends about this one specifically. You could try saying something like, what did you think of cinematographer Jomo Frey's choice to depict the claustrophobic, isolated, emotional story in an entirely first person point of view? how did that impact your level of immersion? Now, the only race that unfortunately this one has any shot in is adapted screenplay, which it has a pretty decent chance in. But regardless, I would check this one out if I were you, because I just think this is an important movie that everyone should see that came out this year. And next up, we have The Substance. The Substance was a smash hit body horror film dealing with themes of misogyny, body image, fame and popularity, and how we treat women as they age in terms of our beauty standards for women in positions of, fame, notoriety, celebrity status. Basically, this movie is about an aging star who takes a substance that splits her into two different bodies, a much younger version of herself and her current version, where she has to split the time. But of course, with anything that seems that volatile, things go wrong. This was the surprise hit of the year. I'd honestly be surprised if you didn't already know about this one, at least a little bit. If you want to seem cultured in front of your friends, I would bring up the bombastic style of this film in terms of the directing and the cinematography and the sound design, and I guess the acting. Whether it's the insane camera angles, or the super saturated color, or the reverbed and gross sounds, or that electronic and heavy score, this is just a very complete vision that is cohesive the entire way through, very moving, has a lot of momentum, a lot of energy, it's a lot of fun. It almost divulges into near camp territory by the end. It's almost like Carrie from, I think, 77 that just ends in this giant... Well, actually, that's a bit of a spoiler, but it ends very campy. For this one, I would say the important debates come down to Farjiyat for director, as well as Demi Moore for lead actress, best original screenplay, and also makeup. Next up, we have I'm Still Here. Real quick, if you could do me a huge favor and go check out the review that I actually put out for this movie last week, it would mean a lot to me. It's actually my best performing video on the channel, and I took a lot of time really trying to dissect that movie, as well as this documentary No Other Land, for how they depict the way that power can come in and basically matter more than human rights in different scenarios. Anyways, this is a film that takes place in 1970s Brazil when the militaristic dictatorship takes over the country, and what happens to this one very well-off kind of socialite family when the father is arrested, never to be seen again. Honestly, for me, what stood out about this movie so much just came down to the incredible texture and tangibility of life and of place that Walter Salles was able to create with this film. At the same time, that juxtaposes very well with the more harrowing, darker tones of the film. If you want to seem cultured when talking about this movie, I would try saying something to your friends like, did you find it effective the way that Walter Salles was able to juxtapose the moments of warmth and light with the moments of darkness throughout the film? Do you feel like it helped you connect with the characters more? The important debates for this one come down to international feature, which it is all but guaranteed to win. Best picture, which I guess you could consider it a dark horse. It's definitely one of the best films of the year, but I wouldn't put it over the frontrunners. And Fernanda Torres as lead actress, which she does honestly have a very good chance at. Next up, we have Conclave. Conclave is a movie about the process of electing a new pope after the previous pope has died, full of secret conversations and intrigue and backstabbing. Essentially, this is this year's Oscar bait film. A movie criticizing religion, again, secret conversations, a lot of twists, challenging bastions of power in the world, and being very critical of, I suppose, more traditional religious sentiments. Essentially, this movie is very woke, which puts it in a good boat when it comes to Hollywood. That said, it's also just still very good, which is what it comes down to. It was essentially bound to make it into Best Picture due to its level of technical craft and the subject matter. This movie is honestly like those LeBron Cavalier teams from when Kevin Durant was on the Warriors. Essentially, this movie was all but guaranteed to make it into Best Picture, but it has absolutely no shot of actually winning it. The important debates for this one come out to editing, score, and screenplay, which I want to say it's currently the front runner of, but that's also just speculation. And next up, we have Anora. Anora follows a sex worker who gets into a relationship with the son of a billionaire Russian oligarch, and what happens when the son's family finds out and starts to intervene. This movie is a bit of a special one for Best Picture, even when compared to all of the other incredible films that made it into Best Picture. And it's special because of its nature as an independent film, a truly independent film. Sean Baker is the leading American independent filmmaker today, so to see this movie get any level of acclaim or success is incredibly exciting and motivating to know that there is a path for this kind of filmmaking to reach a wide audience and to be seen as one of the most important voices in the world. And honestly, I would specifically mention that point to all of your filmmaking friends. If you want to seem cool, bring up this movie as an awesome example of how the indie filmmaking scene is far from dead. This movie won the Palme d'Or at Cannes, for God's sake. Now, of course, if you really want to seem cultured, this movie has also had a bit of dialogue, perhaps you could say controversy around it regarding Sean Baker's decision not to use an intimacy coordinator on the set of a movie about a sex worker. To that, I will say, at least in my opinion, looking at what the actors and he himself have said, the fact that everyone was on the same page about that basically makes it a nothing story for me, but it did raise some eyebrows for some people. Anyways, the important debates for this one, and there are quite a few, are Best Picture, where I want to say it's the front runner, Best Actress for Mikey Madison, Editing, Original Screenplay, and of course Directing. It honestly has a great shot at any of these. I would say it's in the top 2 or 3 of every single one of these categories, if not top 1. Next up, we have The Brutalist. The Brutalist is a 3.5-hour American epic period piece about a Holocaust survivor immigrating to the US to chase his American dream, and he struggles a lot, manages to find a wealthy benefactor who then of course takes advantage of him, and the movie ends in a very ambiguous way. Now, I would have said this movie would have been this year's Oscar bait film based on the first half, but it just came down to the second half of this movie being very abstract and unconventional and less digestible. That made me no longer feel that this movie was very Oscar baity, because it is honestly a bit challenging, and Oscar bait movies tend to be very easy to understand. But to be honest, this movie is just a marvel all around. So you kind of hit a gold mine with this one in terms of something you could talk to your friends about. With this one, try asking your friends if they were aware that this film was made for less than $10 million, despite looking as good as it does and being a period piece. Ask them if that inspires them, or if they've read any stories about how they were able to accomplish that. The director, Brady Corbet, basically just pulled every single favor out of the hat that he had for this one. I honestly think seeing a documentary of the making of for this movie would be amazing and rife with inspiration that filmmakers would be able to mine for making their own cheap independent films. Genuinely, just ask your friends about this one. They'll have an opinion, and you probably won't even have to do much talking. The important debates for this one are Best Picture, of course, which it has a very good shot in, Brody for Actor, which I want to say he's the front runner for, Original Screenplay, Directing, Cinematography, which both of those I also think it has a very good shot to win, Felicity Jones potentially, and Score. This would be my pick for Score of the Year. And finally, we have Dune Part 2. I don't even have to summarize this one. I'm assuming all of you know what Dune is. And to be honest, this would be my pick for Achievement of the Year. This would get my Best Picture, Best Director, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Cinematography, a bunch of text. I genuinely don't understand how this movie got so snubbed, and that's a great place to start if you want to seem in the know when talking to your friends. The only above-the-line Oscar that it got was Best Picture. Everything else was a tech, which is so stupid because this isn't one of those like big Marvel blockbusters where the only real thing about it that's anyway impressive is the action. This is a fantastic story with rich and deep themes and incredible acting. If anything, I think this should be the role that Timothée Chalamet was nominated for. But genuinely, no adapted screenplay, no score, no director for Villeneuve, no supporting actress for Ferguson, and no lead actress for Timmy. And on top of that, it also missed some text that it should have gotten, like editing and costume design. Hell, you could have given Austin Butler a supporting actor. At this point, I'm just complaining. I think you get the picture. Villeneuve got curved hard here, which just sucks because he's one of our finest. Honestly, I guess people just forgot about this one because it came out back in March or April or whenever that was. Anyways, for this one, I would try asking your friends something like, do you believe in the prophecy of a savior from another world? Well, that's going to wrap it up for talking about the films nominated for Best Picture at this year's Oscars. Thank you so much for watching. If you stayed all the way to the end, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Stay tuned this Monday for a new Micro-Budget Mondays on Clerks from 1994, as well as a Mickey 17 review next Friday. I also might do a little mini review on this one movie that came out at a local theater near me that looks like some really, really low-budget film. I have absolutely no idea what it is, but I'm checking it out, and if it's any good, I'll do a review on that too. So be sure to stay tuned for that. Anyways, again, thanks y'all for watching. Have a great night. Love y'all, and bye-bye.